From the moment you took your first breath, there was something about you that the spirit realm noticed. You might not have understood it. As a child, you just thought you were different. Maybe too quiet, maybe too deep in thought for your age, maybe too sensitive to the world around you, but in the unseen realm, your birth was not an ordinary event. It sent ripples across both light and darkness. The demons took notice, not because you were weak or an easy target, but because something inside you radiated with a light they could never extinguish. Even before you knew the name Chosen One, you carried the signature of divine authority. On your soul, and for those who walk in that calling, there's a truth that must be spoken into your spirit today. The demons are too weak to touch you. They may posture, they may roar, they may send illusions to frighten you. But when it comes to actually laying a hand on you, when it comes to crossing the line, God Himself has drawn they can't. The authority that covers you is not of this world. It's the same authority that split the Red Sea, that shut the mouths of lions in Daniel's den, that turned fire into a harmless dance for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. That authority is a mantle draped over your very being. And while you live in a physical world, make no mistake, every battle, every attack, every moment of heaviness you've ever faced began in the spiritual realm. But here's the twist. They can only attack from a distance. They can send whispers to try and make you doubt. They can send distractions to make you forget your mission. They can stir up people around you to drain your energy and pull your focus. But to touch your destiny, to dismantle what God has already set in motion, they simply don't have the strength. In fact, their fear of you is the reason they try to intimidate you so hard. The stronger your light, the weaker their influence. They know if you ever truly wake up to who you are, their grip over certain territories and certain people will crumble. You are more dangerous to the kingdom of darkness than you realize. It's not because you shout the loudest or move with the most charisma, is because of the unshakable connection you have with your source. Think about it. When you walk into a room, you don't just bring your physical presence. You bring the weight of the Spirit that lives in you. You bring the same power that raised Christ from the dead. Darkness doesn't just see you, it sees Him. And that's why you've survived attacks that should have ended you. It's why the betrayal that was meant to break you only pushed you deeper into purpose. It's why, when storms came, you somehow found yourself still standing when the dust cleared. There have been moments when you thought you were on the brink. Moments when you felt stripped bare, but in reality, those were the moments when your spirit was most untouchable. God allows the enemy to rattle the cage, but never to open the door. And here's the part they hate. The most your battles have only made you stronger. Every trap they set became training. Every wound became a testimony. Every loss made you lighter, faster, more agile for the path ahead. They have thrown their worst, and you're still here. That, in itself, is proof. You might wonder why God even allows them near enough to shout. Why not silence them completely? The answer lies in your growth. A lion doesn't become king of the jungle by living in a cage. Strength is forged in opposition. Faith is proven in the valley. And when the valley is filled with shadows that can't actually touch you, it becomes a place of victory before the battle even begins. You see, the enemy's weakness isn't just about lack of power, it's about lack of access. The blood over your life is a barrier no demon can breach. The mark God placed on you is like a seal in the spiritual realm, and even if the enemy wanted to destroy you, he would have to go through the one who made you. And that's a fight he's already lost. Time and time again, what you carry isn't fragile. Your anointing doesn't shatter, under pressure it multiplies. The more they push, the more your light expands. And the more your light expands, the more they shrink back into the corners they came from. This is why, chosen one, you've been seeing certain people fade away. Why certain environments no longer feel the same. It's not protection. Darkness can't be comfortable around you anymore. Not because you're perfect, but because you're dangerous to the atmosphere it thrives in. Even your silence is a threat. Even your stillness carries weight. They see it, they know it, and that's why they can never truly touch you. Their weapons may form, but they will never prosper. They can roar, but their claws are broken. They can whisper, but their words dissolve in the light of truth you carry. You've been assigned a mission that doesn't just impact you, it impacts generations. And the enemy knows that if he can't stop you, the ripple effect of your obedience will undo years of his work. That's why he'll settle for trying to make you doubt yourself. He'll try to distract you into shrinking, hoping you never realize that he's already defeated. But when you wake up to the truth that they are too weak to lay a hand on you, you walk differently. You speak differently. You pray differently. You stop begging for protection and start moving like you know you're already covered. You stop fearing the shadows because you realize they can't cross the line of light surrounding you. Every step you take is a reminder to the spirit realm that you are untouchable by divine decree. And while they may hover, they will never hold. That's the power of being chosen. That's the reality you walk in. You are a living, breathing reminder to darkness that their time is up. And the more you embrace that truth, the weaker they become, not just in your life, but in every space you enter. They've been watching you since the moment you stepped into this world, circling like vultures over something they thought would be an easy target. But the moment they got close enough to sense the essence within you, they knew this was no ordinary human life. They felt the vibration, the spiritual frequency that marks someone under divine protection. It was not just a faint light, it was a blazing, consuming fire in the spirit realm. And fire, no matter how small it appears in the natural, is deadly to anything born of darkness. You didn't ask for this mantle. It was placed upon you before you could speak your first word. God inscribed his seal upon your spirit before you even knew what life was. And that seal is not symbolic, it's a legal mark in the courts of heaven, an unshakable decree that no demon can override. The truth is, they've tried. You might think of the close calls in your life, the moments you almost didn't make it, the accidents that seemed random but were carefully orchestrated in the unseen. They were assignments, planned ambushes, but every time they moved, something unseen blocked their path. A force stronger than their hate, greater than their schemes. Angels moved when you didn't even know you needed protection. Divine intervention stepped in before the danger could fully form. They can rattle chains in your ear, they can scream accusations in your mind, but the moment they reach toward you with intent to harm, their strength collapses like dust in a storm. This is what the spirit realm knows, but hopes you never figure out. You are off limits. They thrive on fear, on intimidation, on getting you to believe they have more authority than they do. But when your eyes open, when your spirit truly grasps that the battlefield is already tilted in your favor, you stop reacting like prey and start walking like a conqueror. You stop pleading for safety because you understand safety is already your inheritance. You stop shrinking from conflict because you know every time darkness pushes against you, it's only revealing how powerless it really is. What's happening in your life right now might feel like chaos, but look closely. Has anything truly destroyed you? Have you noticed how even the most painful betrayals ended up leading you closer to your purpose? That's not coincidence, chosen one. That's divine orchestration. The attacks that were designed to take you out instead became the very stones. You're now standing on. Your story is becoming the proof that God's word over your life cannot be undone. They can't touch you physically, so they try to infiltrate your emotions. They throw confusion into your relationships. They stir misunderstandings. They push certain people to walk away from you, hoping you'll misinterpret it as rejection rather than divine separation. But every loss is actually a removal of anything that could be used as a backdoor into your life. The more you grow in your calling, the smaller the enemy's window becomes, until eventually it's sealed completely. That's when they realize all they can do is watch. Imagine this armies of demons assigned to monitor you, to report every move you make, hoping for the smallest crack in your armor. But they find themselves standing at a distance, unable to cross the invisible line drawn around you. They watch you rise, helpless, because heaven's decree over you is final. And the irony is, their very presence becomes proof of your significance. Darkness doesn't stalk what doesn't threaten it. If you were powerless, they wouldn't care. But the fact that they invest so much energy trying to unsettle you is the loudest confirmation that you are carrying something they cannot afford to let loose. The spirit inside you is not passive. It's not timid. It's not hoping to survive. It's designed to dominate. That's why rooms shift when you enter. People can't always explain it, but they feel it. Some are drawn to it because their spirit recognizes yours. Others recoil from it because it exposes the shadows they've been hiding in. And demons, they feel it like a burn. They can't stand in it for long without weakening. That's why you've seen certain attacks stop abruptly. Why certain threats have evaporated without explanation. You may have wondered why the enemy didn't just wipe you out when you were vulnerable, when you didn't even know you were chosen. The answer is simple: they never had the power. They can touch circumstances, they can stir storms around you, but they cannot override the one who called you. God's hand is not just over you, it's in you, moving through you, making you untouchable in ways you don't even see. And here's the part that will make hell nervous. The more you embrace this truth, the less they can even influence your mind. Fear loses its grip. Doubt loses its voice. Temptations lose their shine. You start walking into places without hesitation, speaking what needs to be spoken, breaking chains without even realizing it. Because when a chosen one understands their position in the spirit realm, they stop reacting to darkness and start commanding it to move. You are in that season now. The demons assigned to you are frustrated because every trap they set has failed. Every attempt to break you has only sharpened your discernment. They've realized the dangerous truth that not only are you too protected to touch, but you're becoming the kind of force that sends them running before you even see them. And in the days ahead, this awareness will only grow. You will find yourself stepping into situations that once felt threatening, only to realize the atmosphere bends to the light within you. And when that happens, chosen one, you will fully understand why the demons were too weak to touch you in the first place. Because what you're carrying, chosen one, is not just protection, it's a weapon. You don't simply survive darkness. You weaken it every time you breathe, every time you pray, every time you speak life into a situation where death was expected. The very light within you carries an authority that was forged before you were even born. It is written in heaven's records that your life is a barrier to certain demonic agendas, that your voice will dismantle chains they've spent years tightening, and so they watch from the shadows, frustrated, realizing that their power over you was an illusion from the very start. You were never meant to fall into their traps, because God ordered your steps in such a way that even your mistakes lead you back to the path He intended. Every storm you've been through has only added layers to your spiritual armor. Remember the nights when you cried out for deliverance, thinking the silence meant God had abandoned you. In reality, that silence was Him teaching you to trust the covering you already had. You thought you were alone, but the spirit realm was crowded, angels on guard, demons pacing but unable to cross the line, heaven holding the blueprint of your destiny in place. That's why every time you should have been crushed, you rose again. It wasn't luck. It wasn't coincidence. It was the power of the one who claimed you. You see, demons can only touch what is left unclaimed, what belongs to no one but you. You were claimed by the Creator Himself. Your name is etched in the Lamb's Book of Life, and that is a spiritual ownership document they cannot override. When you understand this, fear becomes foreign to you. You stop bracing for attacks because you realize attacks are not proof of weakness. They are evidence of your threat level. And here's the irony, they fear the moment you realize. They fear you. Think about how much they've invested in distractions just to keep you from discovering this. The lies they've whispered, the relationships they've sabotaged, the constant feeling of being misunderstood, isolated, or out of place. All of it was designed to keep you focused on your pain instead of your position. Because the day you understand your position is the day you step into the kind of authority that makes them scatter without a fight. That's why you've noticed the shift lately. People you thought would walk with you forever have drifted away. Certain doors you prayed for have closed without explanation. Even environments that once felt comfortable now feel foreign. This isn't punishment, it's repositioning. God is stripping away everything that could compromise your anointing, everything that could be used as a foothold by the enemy. And when you are fully positioned, the strength you carry will no longer be hidden, it will be undeniable. In the spirit realm, your presence is already known. Your light has been registered, your authority acknowledged, even by those who would never admit it. That's why demons hesitate before even trying to interfere in your path. They know the cost of touching something sacred. They know the last time they tried, heaven responded instantly, and some of them carry the scars of that attempt to this day. Yes, they remember. They remember the night they thought they had you, the moment they thought your faith was broken beyond repair, and leave for God to step in and turn the entire situation into a testimony that glorified Him. This is why they are too weak to touch you. It's not that they wouldn't if they could, it's that they have learned the hard way what happens when they do. It's that every attack backfires, every curse gets reversed, every plan they form ends up serving the very purpose they wanted to destroy. You are walking proof that no weapon formed against you shall prosper, not because the weapon isn't formed, but because it cannot complete its assignment against someone who belongs to God. And the most powerful part of all this, you don't have to fight to prove it. You don't have to convince anyone of your worth or your calling. You simply keep walking, keep speaking, keep living in alignment with the one who sent you. And as you do, the light within you grows until it becomes a force that not only protects you but pushes back the darkness around you. You won't just be untouchable, you'll become unstoppable. And as you keep walking in that light, chosen one, something incredible happens. The atmosphere begins to shift before you even arrive. Rooms feel different when you enter. Conversations change mid-sentence, and people who had planned to speak against you suddenly lose their words. That's not coincidence. That's spiritual authority making its presence known without you having to announce yourself. The enemy senses it before anyone else does. They feel the weight of what covers you, and it's too much for them to withstand. Even those who are unknowingly carrying darkness find themselves restless in your presence because your light exposes what they've been hiding. This is why some people avoid you without explanation. They can't articulate why they're uncomfortable. But deep down, their spirit knows it's standing next to something consecrated. You don't even have to speak for conviction to rise in the atmosphere. Your life does the talking. And when that happens, the forces that once felt confident enough to play in your territory retreat before you even draw your sword. They've seen what happens when they cross that boundary. The last time they tried, they didn't just fail, they were humiliated, stripped of whatever small advantage they thought they had. You see, the weakness of demons isn't in their lack of hate, in their lack of access. They can't get close enough to touch you because every step they try to take toward you is met with resistance from the armies of heaven. Imagine trying to approach a fortress whose gates are guarded not just by soldiers, but by fire that consumes anything unholy, by walls that shift and seal tighter at the first hint of intrusion, by watchtowers manned by beings who have never lost a battle. That's your life in the spirit. You are not walking through this world exposed. You are walking under the most impenetrable covering that exists. And because they can't touch you directly, they resort to strategy. They study you, they look for moments of distraction, weakness, or weariness. They send people with subtle intentions. They whisper lies in the middle of your thoughts, trying to make you doubt your worth. But here's the truth, they can't escape every tactic they use only ends up pushing you closer to God. The very trial they hoped would break you becomes the training ground that strengthens you. The very heartbreak they intended to use as a wound becomes a place where God plants a deeper faith. This is why they are losing. They can't outmaneuver someone whose steps are ordered. They can't trap someone whose destiny was written before they even entered this world. And the higher you go, the weaker they become. At first, they tried intimidation. Then they tried distraction. Then they tried discouragement. But every time, you came back stronger, clearer, and more determined. What they didn't account for is that your anointing doesn't just protect you, it evolves. With every battle, your discernment sharpens. Your prayers hit harder. Your ability to see through lies becomes instantaneous. That's why they're running out of ideas. Chosen one. They've played every card they have. And you're still here, still glowing, still moving, still dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. Understand this. Your untouchability is not passive. It's active. It's the constant flow of divine power moving through you, repelling anything that doesn't align with God's will. And that's what frustrates them most. They know they can't overpower you, but they also can't stop you from growing. Every day you live in alignment, you increase the distance between their plans and your reality. Every day you speak life, you push the darkness further back. You are not just surviving demonic opposition, you are erasing their influence from entire territories. This is why the spirit realm recognizes your name. It's why heaven celebrates when you rise, and hell trembles when you pray. You've been underestimated for too long, but not anymore. Now you're aware of the authority you carry, the favor that surrounds you, and the shield that never leaves your side. And once you know this, once you truly believe it, there is nothing, absolutely nothing they can do to stop the rise. God has already decreed over your life, and as the weight of that truth sinks in, you begin to notice that the world around you reacts differently to your presence. It's as if every step you take leaves an imprint in both the physical and spiritual realms. You're not just moving through space, you're shifting atmospheres. People who once mocked you suddenly grow quiet when you speak. Rooms that used to feel hostile now fall into an unnatural stillness when you enter, as though something unseen has just commanded everything to pay attention. You're not imagining this. The spiritual realm knows when authority walks in, and authority doesn't come from titles, fame, or outward strength. It comes from alignment with God's will. Demons sense that alignment before you even open your mouth. They hear the echo of heaven in your footsteps. They feel the vibration of the prayers you've prayed in secret, the kind that left scorch marks in the spirit. They remember the times they tried to strike at you in the dark, only to be met by walls of light that they could not penetrate. They've tasted the sting of your obedience, because every time you followed God instead of your own impulses, you destroyed a plan they spent months or years trying to build. That's why their fear isn't about you personally, it's about the God who moves through you. And yet, there's an irony they can't escape. Even though they know they can't touch you, they're still ordered to watch you. Imagine their frustration assigned to observe your rise, to witness the very victory they tried to prevent. Every accomplishment, every breakthrough, every moment you step into another level of your calling, they're there, powerless, watching the light grow brighter. They're not cheering, they're grinding their teeth, but they can't leave, because the divine order has commanded them to stay. And witness what favor looks like when it's unstoppable. The higher you climb, the more their power drains. The battles you face now are not the same as before, because they're not direct attacks, they're echoes, weak shadows of what they once tried to do. They've realized that touching you is like touching fire. It burns them more than it harms you, so they resort to sending whispers in the form of doubt, hoping you'll sabotage yourself. But you've learned too much to fall for that. You've seen too much of God's faithfulness to believe the lies of something that's already defeated. You walk with the awareness now that your very existence is an act of war against darkness. You're not here to blend in. You're here to disrupt, to dismantle, to uproot every work of the enemy in the places God sends you. And because of that, protection surrounds you in ways most people will never understand. Some will think you're lucky, others will say you're just strong. But you know the truth, it's not luck, and it's not human strength. It's divine strategy. Every trial you endured trained you for this. Every tear you cried watered the seeds of your resilience. Every season you thought would break, you was actually fortifying the walls of your spirit until they became impenetrable. And so, chosen one, you keep moving forward. You keep carrying the light that forces shadows to flee. You keep speaking words that shake foundations. You keep living in such a way that even demons who hate you are forced to admit this one is untouchable. This one carries something that doesn't come from earth. This one has heaven's mark, and no darkness can erase it. The air around you feels different now, not in a mystical, faraway sense, but in a way that's tangible, almost electric. It's as if the unseen realm has shifted its gaze toward you, acknowledging your presence not with curiosity, but with recognition. The recognition is not of your name alone, but of the authority you carry, the assignments you've completed, the battles you've survived. Heaven has already announced to the spirit realm that you are not to be touched, and the word has spread through both angelic and demonic ranks. When you walk, there is movement you cannot see, angels taking positions, unseen sentinels guarding your flanks. You are not traveling alone, even if it feels that way to human eyes. There's a holy perimeter around you that darkness dares not breach, And the demons who once roared at you now watch from the shadows, their voices reduced to whispers. They speak your name with caution, not because you are invincible in your own strength, but because they've learned the cost of coming too close to the light that lives inside you. It wasn't always this way. You remember the days when the attacks felt relentless, when opposition came from every corner, when betrayal seemed to hunt you down. Those seasons carved deep grooves in your soul, grooves that became channels for wisdom, patience, and a strength no storm could wash away. Every wound you thought would scar you forever became a doorway for God's power to flow. That's why the demons failed. They attacked the vessel, but the oil kept flowing. They broke the surface, but they couldn't touch the source. Now, your very presence is a reminder to them of their failure. Every time you step into your purpose, it's like a trumpet blast announcing their defeat all over again. They've been ordered to stand at a distance and watch, their claws clenched, their rage simmering as you rise higher. They can't sabotage the plan anymore. All they can do is bear witness, and that is their torment, to see the one they tried to destroy carry the very victory they feared most. The spiritual battlefield is not empty just because you can't see it. When you speak life over your future, angels advance. When you resist temptation, fortresses of light rise around you. When you refuse to bow to fear, it sends shockwaves through the enemy's camp. And the demons, they scatter, regroup, and then stand on the edges of your territory, waiting for permission they know will never come. The divine order is clear. Touch this one, and you answer to the throne. This is why, even in moments when you feel surrounded, you are actually encircled by fire, the kind of holy fire that doesn't consume you but incinerates every weapon formed against you. That fire is the reason their attacks grow weaker, their voices quieter. They fear the one who walks with you, the one who has declared that your story will not end in defeat. And you, chosen one, have learned to walk with the quiet confidence of someone who knows they are protected. You don't waste energy fighting shadows anymore. You stand in the light and let the shadows run from you. You've become a living testimony that no curse, no plot, no demonic scheme can outlast the favor of God. The enemy's greatest weapon now is to hope you forget who you are. But even that hope fades every time you step forward in faith. You are untouchable, not because the road is smooth, but because every step is ordained. You are dangerous to darkness, not because of your voice alone, but because heaven's voice echoes through yours. And as long as that is true, the demons can only do what they've been reduced to doing: watch your rise and admit in silence. They are too weak to touch you. The shift is almost imperceptible to the untrained eye, but in the spirit realm it is deafening. Your footsteps are no longer just footsteps, they are declarations. Every time you move forward, the ground beneath you seems to remember the one who ordered your steps, and the atmosphere bends to accommodate the assignment you carry. It's not arrogance, it's divine authority. You don't need to shout to be heard in the realm of spirits. Your obedience speaks louder than words, and every act of faith sends out a signal they cannot ignore. There was a time when they could come near, disguise themselves, and whisper lies that made you question everything. They used people you trusted, moments of weakness, and the heaviness of life to try to crush your spirit. But something happened along the way. God fortified you. What was once a vulnerable heart became a fortified citadel, guarded not just by your willpower, but by His presence. They tested every wall, every gate, every opening, and found no access. And in their failure, they learned the truth. You are not just another soul wandering the earth. You are marked, sealed, and surrounded. Now, when your name is mentioned in the spirit realm, it's not with casual mockery like before, it's with measured caution. They remember the last time they came close and what it cost them. The darkness knows that there are some lights it can dim and others it cannot approach without being burned. Yours is the latter. It is the kind of light that pierces their illusions and forces them to see the truth about themselves. And so, they linger at the edges. They don't retreat because they want to. They retreat because they must. They stand at a distance, watching your steps, your growth, your breakthroughs, not because they admire you, but because they are forced to bear witness. Their orders are not to touch, not to harm, only to observe as the one they try to bury rises like a mountain they can't climb. This is their defeat, to watch your story unfold in the very opposite way they planned. Every day you live in alignment with your calling, you are a walking reminder that their power is limited. That's the part that gnaws at them the most. They wanted you to believe they could destroy you. Instead, you discovered they were never strong enough to do so. The moment you understood that truth, the balance shifted forever. You no longer respond to fear the same way. You no longer flinch at shadows or second guess your worth. You move with the certainty that every step you take is under divine jurisdiction. And in this new reality, you begin to notice that your battles are fewer, not because the war is over, but because the enemy has learned which territories are too costly to invade. You are one of them. You've become the kind of person they can't handle, the kind who prays without fear, worships without shame, and speaks life into dead places without hesitation. Every time you choose faith over fear, you send tremors through their fragile fortresses. The demons are too weak to touch you, not just because of what you carry, but because of who stands beside you. The King of Kings has placed his seal on you. And no one, no force, no principality, no power can break it. You've been drafted into a different kind of battle now. One where your victories are not measured in what you defeat, but in what you build. You're no longer fighting just to survive. You're advancing to reclaim territory, and so you walk forward, not timidly, not with hesitation, but with the steady stride of someone who knows they are untouchable. Every breath you take, every word you speak, every choice you make is evidence that you have crossed a line in the spirit realm that can never be uncrossed. They tried to touch you and they failed. They tried to break you and you only became stronger. They tried to silence you, but your voice now carries further than ever before. You, chosen one, have become living proof that when God says, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper," it is not poetry, it is law. And the law has been enforced in the courts of heaven, where your case has already been settled in your favor. The enemy knows it. The demons know it. And now you know it too. They didn't just lose the battle for your life, they lost the right to even stand in your presence without feeling the weight of divine authority pressing against them. You see, when God elevates you, it's not just for the sake of your comfort or success. It's to shift the balance of power in realms you can't even see. The enemy doesn't just retreat because you've grown stronger in your own will. They retreat because the one who commands legions now walks with you in a way that cannot be disguised or diminished. Your very atmosphere is different. There's a certain air you carry now, one that unsettles darkness without you having to say a single word. Step into a room and the spiritual temperature changes, not because you're performing some ritual or flexing your power, but because true authority doesn't need theatrics, it simply is. Demons recognize it instantly. It's the same authority they remember encountering long before your birth. the authority of the one who cast them out in the beginning. You are a carrier of that presence, and they know it. Think about it. Once upon a time, they could weave lies into your thoughts, play on your insecurities, and trick you into thinking you were alone. They could plant fear and watch it grow into hesitation, self-sabotage, or compromise. But now, every attempt falls flat. Every snare they set collapses under the weight of discernment you didn't have before. That's the thing about being tested and refined. You come out with senses sharper than before. You can smell deception before it even gets close. You can feel dishonor before a single word is spoken. You see the spirit behind the smile, and you recognize the poison in the honey. This frustrates them. It's not just that they can't touch you physically, it's that they can't even manipulate the atmosphere around you anymore. The shield over your life is not just a barrier, it's a mirror. Every dark thing that approaches is forced to see itself for what it truly is before it can get any closer. And when it sees its reflection in the light you carry, it remembers the day it was stripped of power and cast down. So they linger in the shadows, watching. They are witnesses now, unwilling ones, conscripted by divine order to stand at the sidelines and observe as your story unfolds. Every victory you experience is a public humiliation for them. Every prayer you pray that gets answered is another nail in the coffin of their schemes. Every person you help heal, inspire, or guide is a trophy in your Father's house that reminds them they lost far more than they ever intended to. And here's the most humbling part for them. God uses your rise as a teaching moment in the unseen realms. Your life becomes a living sermon to both angels and demons. Angels see in you a display of God's mercy and power in human form. Demons see a reminder of their defeat and the futility of their rebellion. You are the evidence that no matter how fierce the storm, no matter how dark the night, no weapon formed against the chosen will ever stand. That's why you feel the strange mixture of opposition and protection in this season. The same forces that once hunted you are now forbidden from even brushing against your path. They may howl from a distance, but they cannot cross the line heaven has drawn. You may still see them lurking, but their presence is powerless now. Their fear isn't of your personality or your achievements, it's of the spirit dwelling within you. The same spirit that drove them into hiding in ancient days. So, when you wake up and sense that heaviness in the air, don't misinterpret it as danger. More often than not, it's simply the shifting of unseen forces making way for the light you carry. You've become untouchable, not because the attacks stopped, but because the authority you carry now nullifies their power. You walk clothed in a mantle that cannot be stolen, in a light that cannot be dimmed, under a name that cannot be defeated, and that chosen one is the real reason they are too weak to touch you. They have been demoted from assailants to spectators, from attackers to silent witnesses. You have outlasted their plans, survived their traps, and risen into a position they can neither reach nor understand. You stepped into the kind of victory that isn't loud or showy, it's steady, relentless, and eternal. They thought you would crumble under the weight of the trials. They thought the betrayals, the sleepless nights, the unanswered questions, and the loneliness would break you into pieces too small to recover. They miscalculated. Every season they intended for your destruction only served to strengthen the foundation beneath you. They can't touch you now because every wound they inflicted has been sealed with something stronger than flesh divine covering. The scars you carry are no longer reminders of pain, but proof of survival. This is why, in the spirit realm, your name carries weight. When it's spoken, it's not just a sound, it's a declaration. It's a record of battles fought and won, of assignments completed despite opposition, of faith held onto when giving up would have been easier. Demons don't forget those who've walked through the fire and come out without the smell of smoke. They don't underestimate those who've faced darkness and refused to bow. Now they are bound to watch you flourish in the very places they swore you'd fail. You'll notice something strange. Doors will start to open that even you didn't expect. Opportunities will come that no human hand could have orchestrated. This isn't luck, it's divine strategy. God positions you so that every move forward isn't just progress, it's a statement. Your steps now serve as a living announcement to the unseen world. The one you tried to destroy is not only alive, but advancing, and with every step you take, they are reminded of a truth they hate to acknowledge. Their power has limits. They can throw storms your way, but they can't dictate the outcome. They can try to twist narratives, but they can't erase the truth heaven has already written about you. They can attempt to block your path, but when God orders your steps, obstacles become stepping stones. The fear they feel now is deeper than fear of defeat, it's fear of exposure. Your rise exposes the lies they whispered to you in your weakest moments. It reveals that the things they told you about yourself were never true. Every blessing that finds you is proof they couldn't curse you. Every connection that lifts you higher is proof they couldn't isolate you forever. Every moment of joy that returns to your spirit is proof they couldn't keep you bound in sorrow. There is also a shift happening in the atmosphere around you. People who once overlooked you will now have no choice but to notice. Not because you're trying to prove yourself, but because the light within you is too bright to ignore. This light isn't just illumination, it's identification. In the unseen realm, it's a badge of belonging to the Most High. It's the sign that you are protected property, guarded not only by angels, but also by the command of God Himself, which even demons cannot disobey. Some will be drawn to it, seeking the warmth and clarity your presence brings. Others will be repelled, unable to handle the truth that radiates from you without you even speaking. And those in the demonic ranks, they will approach only to retreat, realizing too late that the one they once hunted now stands in a place of untouchable authority. It's not that they've suddenly developed respect for you, it's that fear has replaced their arrogance. They've seen the consequences of crossing those who walk under the shadow of the Almighty. And here's the hidden layer most people never consider. Sometimes God allows them to remain nearby, not as a threat, but as unwilling witnesses to your growth. They watch as prayers you prayed in private manifest in public. They see blessings multiply in places where they sowed destruction. They witness relationships restored, health renewed, doors opened, and joy replenished. Every good thing in your life becomes a sermon they can't ignore, each one echoing the same message: the hand of God is on this one, and there's nothing you can do about it. This is why you must keep walking forward with boldness. You're not simply surviving, you're setting a precedent in the spiritual realm. You're proving that when God says, "Do not touch my anointed," those words are law. You are living proof that the light within is more powerful than any darkness outside, and so, chosen one, understand this. The demons that once sought to break you now stand as silent observers of your destiny. They don't clap, they don't cheer, but they cannot deny what they see. Someone they thought would be their easy prey has become their greatest reminder of defeat. They can't touch you anymore, not because they've changed, but because you have stepped into a level of divine covering they can't penetrate. You walk now in the kind of authority that turns former hunters into helpless spectators, and so the air shifts when you enter a room, not because of what you wear or the expression on your face, but because of the authority that moves with you. You've become a walking disruption to the plans of darkness. Your presence alone alters the spiritual landscape. Conversations change. Hidden agendas crumble. Even the unspoken hostility in someone's heart feels exposed without you saying a single word. This is the unshakable reality of a chosen one who has survived the storms. They know now that touching you is a sentence they cannot afford you. See, demons operate like predators in the wild. They attack where there is weakness, hesitation, or fear. But in you, they no longer see prey. They see a fortress. They see walls reinforced by every tear you've ever cried, by every prayer you've whispered in desperation, by every time you've chosen faith when doubt was easier. Your very resilience has turned into a shield. And while they once approached with boldness, thinking you were unprotected, they now approach with caution if at all. This isn't because you've suddenly become perfect or flawless. No, it's because your connection to God has become your ultimate defense. It's because you walk under a covenant that was signed in blood and sealed by divine authority. Even the smallest whisper from heaven sends tremors through the ranks of the enemy. They know it's not just you they'd have to confront, it's the entire host of heaven backing you. And no demon, no matter how prideful, can win that war. There are moments now when you'll feel them watching, lurking on the outskirts, hoping to find a chink in your armor. They still study you, not because they can harm you, but because your very existence defies their expectations. They can't figure out why the traps they set for you backfired. They can't comprehend how you've risen higher after every attempt to bring you low. To them, it's not just frustrating, it's humiliating. And that humiliation burns them more than any defeat. In the spirit realm, there's a record of your victories, some you remember, some you don't even know about. There are battles God fought for you in your sleep, interventions you'll only understand in eternity. Every one of those victories adds to the reputation of your name, and that reputation now precedes you. Demons know your name not as an easy target, but as a warning. Your name is spoken in their circles as a reminder that some missions are doomed before they start. And the beauty of this divine protection is that you don't have to strive for it. It's a byproduct of your obedience. The more you walk in alignment with your purpose, the stronger your covering becomes. The more you trust God to handle what you can't control, the less access the enemy has to your mind, your heart, your spirit. You've shifted from being someone they pursued to being someone they are forced to avoid. That is the power of being untouchable under heaven's command. But this season also carries a responsibility. Just because they can't touch you doesn't mean they've stopped trying to influence the world around you. They may no longer get near your spirit, but they'll try to touch the people connected to you. They'll attempt to cause chaos in the environments you step into, hoping you'll get distracted or discouraged. That's why your discernment must stay sharp. It's why you have to guard your peace like treasure, because your peace is your shield, and the moment you let it slip, they'll test the boundaries again. You'll notice that in this new level of spiritual authority, certain people will suddenly fade from your life. Some will walk away voluntarily, unable to handle the shift in you. Others will be quietly removed by divine intervention. At first, this may feel like loss, but it's actually part of the protection. God doesn't just shield you from demonic attack, He shields you from partnerships and connections that could weaken your defenses. Your isolation isn't punishment, it's fortification. And here's the most profound part. The same God who allows you to stand untouchable also allows your enemies to remain long enough to see it. This is a form of divine justice. Instead of removing them entirely, He seats them where they can watch every blessing that comes your way. They will see prayers answered in ways they cannot explain. They will witness your growth, your influence, your favor, all while knowing they once had the opportunity to destroy you and failed. That's why you must walk boldly into this next chapter. Don't shrink back to make others comfortable. Don't dim your light because it makes the darkness uneasy. You are not here to blend in. You are here to stand as living proof that God's power is greater than any force that opposes you. Your rise is not just personal victory, it's a declaration in the spiritual realm that the Most High defends His own. Even when you don't feel strong, remember this: strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet decision to keep moving forward. Sometimes it's the unshakable refusal to go back to the chains you've been freed from. And every time you choose faith over fear, trust over doubt, obedience over rebellion, you reinforce the wall they can't scale. Chosen one, you are walking in a season where no curse can touch you, no hex can hold you, no word spoken against. You can take root. You are under orders from heaven, and those orders are clear. Rise. The demons know it. The angels know it. And soon, the whole world will know it too. And so, chosen one, as you stand at this point in your journey, understand this truth. Deep in your spirit, the season you are in is not fragile, it is fortified. The enemy has already tried and failed. The storms have already raged and passed. The weapons have already been formed and shattered before they could touch you. You are living proof that God's favor is not just a gentle blessing, but a fierce shield, one that makes darkness retreat at the mere sight of your presence. The fact that you are here, still breathing, still rising, still carrying light, is evidence enough that no force in hell can override the order Heaven has placed over your life. This is not the time to question why the battles were so fierce. This is the time to recognize that those battles were proof of your value. You were not fought because you were weak. You were fought because you were dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. And now, having endured, you walk with a spiritual authority that cannot be faked or replicated. The oil on your life came at a cost, and those who understand the spirit realm can smell it on you from miles away. That's why the demons hesitate. That's why the attacks are fewer. And that's why you find yourself walking through places that used to intimidate you with a calm you never knew before. But with this level of covering comes a divine responsibility too. Remain aligned, to remain obedient, and to remain watchful. Protection is not an excuse for passivity. It is an invitation to live bolder. You were not preserved just to survive, you were preserved to lead, to speak truth, to set captives free, and to walk into rooms that others are too afraid to enter. You carry a light this world has never seen, and even in your quietest moments, that light speaks louder than any sermon. The same God who silenced the schemes against you will amplify your influence in due time. The same God who closed the mouths of your accusers will open doors no one can shut. The same God who made you untouchable will make you unstoppable. And when you move with that confidence, not arrogance, but the quiet certainty that comes from being chosen, you become the very embodiment of what it means to walk in divine authority. So lift your head, walk forward, do not look back to measure. The distance between you and your past it is gone, swallowed by grace. Do not look to the side to compare your pace to another's. Your path is uniquely crafted for your destiny. Keep your eyes forward, because the places God is about to take. You will not only confirm your calling, but will make it undeniable to every watcher in the spirit realm. You are the proof that God still raises warriors. You are the evidence that His favor still marks people for extraordinary purposes. And you are the living reminder to every demon who ever dared to try that no matter how strong they think they are, the weakest moment in heaven still outmatches the strongest force in hell. Walk in that truth, chosen one, and never forget, it's not just that they can't touch you, it's that they know they can't touch you, and that knowledge will haunt them for eternity. So hear me now, chosen one, this is your moment too. Stop shrinking. This is your season to step fully into the identity God has been shaping in you since before you took your first breath. No more doubting if you are qualified. No more apologizing for the light you carry. No more dimming yourself to make others comfortable. You have been refined in fire, and that fire is now your weapon. You are not fragile, you are forged. Every scar on your soul is now a testimony. Every tear you shed in the dark is now a seed that will bloom in the open. Every battle you thought would break you has instead become a stepping stone toward your destiny. And the same way demons once tried to surround you, now they stand back. Not in reverence to you, but in reverence to the God who moves through you. When you walk into a room, understand that you carry the kingdom with you. Heaven backs your words. Heaven guards your steps. Heaven fights your battles before you even see them. And because of that, you can walk forward without fear, without hesitation, without the need for approval from anyone who doesn't understand. Your calling, so rise, chosen one. Speak when you are led. Move when you are called. Shine even when the world prefers the dark. And remember, there's no power in hell, no curse spoken in secret. No whisper of the enemy will ever be enough to stop what God has already written about you. You were marked for victory long before you were born, and that victory is unfolding even now. Step boldly into your tomorrow, because the world has yet to see the full force of who you are becoming. And when they do, they'll understand why nothing, absolutely nothing, could touch you. You are untouchable because you are His. Always have been, always will be, and so it shall be. Chosen one, your steps are not random, your path is not fragile, and your life is not subject to the chaos of this world. You walk under a decree written by the very hand of the Almighty, a decree that no man, no demon, no principality can override. The storms that once surrounded you were never meant to drown you. They were meant to reveal that you were born to walk on the waters while others sink. You are the living evidence that light can pierce through the deepest darkness. Every time the enemy thought he had you cornered, heaven whispered a new strategy, and the walls that caged you crumbled. Every time you were told you can't, the voice of the Spirit said, "Watch them." Every time the arrows flew, they bent in midair, unable to touch the one who carries divine favor. Do not think for a second that your journey has been ordinary. The battles you faced were proof of your rank in the Spirit. You were never just a participant in life, you were always a warrior in a kingdom mission. The very powers that once plotted against you now watch from a distance, powerless, because the command over your life is sealed in heaven. You carry a light this world cannot comprehend, a light so pure that it exposes lies, dismantles traps, and disarms the plans of darkness without you even speaking a word. This is why some people avoid you, why some cannot stand your presence. It's not you they fear, it's the truth you radiate. It's the spiritual authority that speaks through your silence. So walk forward as one who knows the outcome before the battle begins. Walk like the victory is already yours, because it is. Do not lower your head to fit into spaces you've outgrown. Do not dull your voice to make the fearful feel safe. And do not question your worth simply because others cannot comprehend. Your purpose, the days ahead, will not be free from challenges. But every challenge will serve as a stage for your next breakthrough. Every season will reveal a deeper layer of who you truly are in the eyes of heaven. And when the final page of this chapter turns, you will see clearly none of it was wasted. Not the pain, not the waiting, not the tears. All of it was preparation. For the authority you now carry, rise and go forth. Chosen one, the world will know your name, not because you sought recognition, but because your very existence is a testimony that no weapon formed against you shall prosper.